Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 19. Today we're going to test a couple of different headphone slash earbud products.
Well, hey Bruce, did Nessa and I hear you correctly?
I'm not really sure if you're messing with me here, Keith. I know Nessa isn't because she's currently sleeping.
No, I'm not messing with you. I was so close to pulling it off.
So you were messing with me.
Yes, I was.
Okay, just so long as we're clear here. Now, any chance that we can get back to the topic at hand, unboxing and product reviews?
Well, I suppose. But seriously, today we're going to be looking at a pair of earbuds and a pair of headphones also. Is that correct?
We are. I know it's a little different to be looking at both earbuds and headphones, but there are times I prefer the size of the earbuds, and other times I want the full over-the-ear experience. Obviously, it's a lot easier to travel with earbuds.
Yeah, I totally get that, right? Reserving all of that space in your travel bag for a bulky set of headphones, that's quite a commitment, and I like to travel light. I prefer the earbuds myself when I travel. In fact, I like to travel so light, sometimes I'll even leave the wife and kids at home for a family vacation.
Oh yeah, well that's smart. Wait, what?
Yeah, gotcha. I was just making sure you were actually listening to me. So, what brands are we looking at today?
Well...
Oh boy, here we go. Let me guess, it's one of those brands that only advertise on Facebook, right?
Well, I think maybe that might be the case. But I gotta tell you, the ads were super convincing and the specs were great.
Okay, so I really hope that they just actually work and that they don't, turn your skin green.
Keith, I think you're thinking of cheap jewelry.
Yeah, probably, but you never know these days.
Okay, so what do you say we introduce these two bad boys and get to the unboxing and how they perform?
I'm all ears.
Are you kidding me? Did you really just say that?
Oh, I did. And I am completely owning it.
Well, in spite of that, we're going to be taking a look at the TWS F9 earbuds and the Broski Lety over-the-ear headphones. These are pretty contrasting products. So the TWS F9 earbuds are a Chinese brand product that sell for $15 to $20 online. Now, I bought multiple sets for me and my daughters as part of the product launch. The Broski Lety headphones are actually a Beats-like and other high-end headphone competitor, but positioned with a more value pricing point, but still not what I would call cheap at between $125 and $150, depending on where you buy them.
Wow, Bruce, I am so impressed that you verbalized those product names correctly. It's amazing. One thing that those two brands have in common is that they spent very little marketing budget coming up with the names of those products. At least I'm assuming that's the case. Those two products, they are very different, right? Even despite the fact that one are headphones and the other ones are earbuds. I think, though, that the TWS F9s are interesting. They're much lower risk, right? The price point's so low that you're able to buy, even multiple pairs.
Yeah, at the time I was researching some earbuds, mainly for my daughters, and I ran across the TWS units. So they came with a charging case that you can actually use to charge your cell phone if you needed to in an emergency, and that's really all it would do, is give you maybe a partial charge in the event you really needed it on most cell phones.
So I believe I heard you say that there would be an unboxing?
Oh, please stop. I tell you what, if I get to the unboxing right now, will you please stop?
You may proceed. Nessa and I will just sit here quietly and watch and listen.
Alright, so we are ready to unbox those two products we just talked about, the TWS F9 earbuds and the Broski Lety over-the-ear headphones. Now, these particular headphones can be used both wireless and wirelessly via Bluetooth. So you've got dual modes you can use. In both modes, you can either have the noise canceling on or off. Now, neither box has been opened yet, so what we're going to do is actually unbox both of these, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the actual performance. Since they're both factory sealed at this point, I have not had a chance to test them out yet. We're going to do some thorough testing to see how that turns out. And as we've discussed, the TWS F9 devices are really designed for the budget-conscious buyer, right? So these are not trying to compete with high-end products. They are really a low-cost option. I want to say that you can get them for about $15 online now. I happen to, as I mentioned, purchase these as part of a multi-pack bundle for me and my kids, so we'll see how that goes. As a matter of fact, the box got a little bit roughed up. I think these may have actually shipped all the way from China back when we got these. So we'll see how they perform. But again, your risk is probably pretty small considering the price point. Now on the Broski, we're talking a little different story here. These are designed to be a premium headset at a more budget conscious price point. So they are trying to go up against the big boys in the industry, the Boses of the world, and go toe to toe with performance, and yet try and come in at a price point that's roughly half that of the other premium brands out there. So we'll see how close they actually come to achieving that goal. All right, so here we go with the TWS F9 earbuds. Let's go ahead and get these opened up. Packaging's pretty simple, so we'll go ahead and get these pulled out real quick here. So, a couple things about these. It does have some very basic instructions, pretty typical for a inexpensive Chinese product. They're very, very simple directions, not super high production value or anything like that on them, but that's fine. We're really trying to save a little money here and get something budget conscious. So let's put that aside. So this is a micro USB cable, so it is going to be something a little bit different than maybe some of your other charging cables if you've got other devices that are charging USB-C. This one you'll want to keep handy because it is different than probably some of your other devices. The earbuds do come with this nice carrying case that also doubles as a charger, so this is where you'll need to charge the units. And it does have a little bit of friction to open that up, so that's probably a good thing. So this is small enough to put in your pocket and carry around with you. Keep the earbuds safe. They're not jiggling around in your pocket loose and bumping into other stuff you might have in there. As well, you can connect this up via this USB connection here to a charging cable for a phone or other device, and you can leverage this as a small portable battery pack. Now, understand that this is probably only going to get you part of a charge on your typical cell phone, but it does give you a little emergency power capability should you need it, as long as you've actually recently charged this itself and that your earbuds haven't been recharging a bunch of times and used up the power that's in it. So not an incredibly large amount, but as a bonus, right, you get a little portable charger in the event that you have an emergency and you need a little extra boost on your cell phone or another device. Here are the earbuds themselves, as well as the additional earpieces for creating a comfortable fit. It is nice that they give you a decent variety of rubber pieces to go on there. So if you include the ones that are already mounted on the earbuds themselves, that's going to give you 3 sets of sizes and shapes to work with. I think for most people that's probably going to be sufficient. These are very, very light. They're plastic. They do have a button on them, so you can do some basic controls with them right on the earbud itself. And as you'd expect, it's a fairly light plastic finish, which, for this price point is going to be fairly typical. Pretty sure that I can tell you that you're probably going to almost forget that these are here from a weight perspective and in your ear just because of how light they are. So it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot to them. We'll see how they end up sounding based on that. If the weight is something that ends up being something that detracts from their performance, or if it performs well in spite of their weight. So let's go ahead and put these aside real quick. We are going to get these charging so that we can test these. So we are now going to switch our attention over to the Broski Lety over-the-ear headphones. And one thing you'll notice right away is just the quality of the packaging, right? So it's not a size of the packaging consideration, because obviously a over-the-ear headphone is going to require a lot bigger package than an earbud is. But just the feel of the materials, right? This box is much thicker, much more substantial in its weight, and even from a design perspective, right? The amount of information on the box and the quality of the packaging is just significantly different. But we're also talking a product that is aimed at the premium market with more of a budget conscious price versus really a budget product from the ground up. Let's go ahead and get these headphones pulled out of the box. I did break the tape seal just so it'll be a lot faster to get these undone. Okay, so just immediately getting it out of the outer sleeve, you can tell that this is really aimed at a different, more upscale market. The quality of the cardboard, the thickness, the overall packaging in general is just much higher quality, and that's kind of your expectation when you're going to spend really a decent amount of money, right? These are not cheap. They are less expensive than some of the other premium brands out there, but certainly between $125 and $150, depending on where you find them and if they've got some specials running, those types of things. That's still a decent amount of money for a pair of headphones. So let's go ahead then and get these opened up. So we just flip this over, and we've got some literature that we're presented with right off the bat, and as you can see, this literature is just a higher quality. This is cardstock. You may not be able to tell that from the video, but this is a cardstock set of instructions as well on the lid. There's some additional instruction information in it, and once we get this opened up, we're immediately presented with a carrying case. And this carrying case has got a nice feel to it. So it is, you know, something you could throw in your suitcase, and it's going to protect the headphones because it's got a hard shell to it. So it's going to allow you to pack it in, have things on top of it, and protect these from getting crushed in your luggage. Now, obviously, most people are probably going to have this on their carry-on, but still, if you're like me, your carry-on ends up being jam-packed with all the stuff that you need to bring with you because you don't want to put any of that electronic equipment and that in your suitcase that's getting checked if you have to check a bag. So let's go ahead and unzip this carrying case, get it opened up, and see what they've given us in here. And really we have some nice storage the way this is put together. So we have a soft carrying case that is branded, so it's got the Broski name right on it. We've got the headphones themselves, and we've got some cables that were given in this package as well. And so let's take a look here at what we've been given. So we've got the airplane adapter, so we've got the twin connectors along with the headphone jack. We've got a hook that it is designed to connect up on the case. You may or may not have seen this. There is a flap here, so we could put this through that, and we could clip it onto something if we wanted to and have it hang from this strap that's integrated to the carrying case. And as well, we've got a couple of cables here. Let's talk about these. And I will tell you just right off of the bat that the cables that they've given us here, this is nice fabric braided cables. Premium ends on them. I can tell the difference between a cheap and an expensive cable, and this is a nice cable. As well, they've also shipped it with Velcro, so they've really designed it so that you can keep your kit together and looking nice. This is, you know, really giving you some cable management and the ability to get this nicely put back together. Probably one of those things that like Peter McKinnon would really like, right? He's really about how you store things and not just how things work. So again, we've also got the same thing with this particular cable. This is also a micro USB connection on one end and the USB, so they're going to give you a nice, looks to be a pretty long cable for charging up the headphones themselves. And it's got a nice net area here that retains all of these cables and accessories that are included with the device. So let's go ahead and get the headphones themselves out. And they do rotate around quite a bit. And you might notice that the case has actually got formed areas to keep the ear cups in place, and you might not be able to see this very well, but as I'm pressing these feel almost gel packed, right? So really, you know, very nice case included as part of this kit. So that's a real bonus, right? Sometimes you don't get that type of nice carrying case that goes with it. It's really designed to keep these earphones safe and sound and not bouncing around and moving around inside of the case itself. The materials, it's primarily plastic, but I will tell you they're not bad feeling plastic, right? So there's different types of plastic out there. They feel like it's pretty decent quality, and the ear pieces themselves really feel very soft. And one thing that I think is pretty nice, it's not just little lettering on the outside of these earphones to identify which one's left and right. It actually, if you see, it's got right and left that's denoted right in the cups themselves on the filters for the speakers. So that's pretty nice feature. And these rotate around, so you know they aren't fixed in terms of, maybe the way your head is shaped. It's going to give you just a little bit of adjustment. I mean, it's primarily designed to allow you to rotate these around and store them, right? So now we can push them in and out and that. But so really, these have a nice feel. All the materials, although plastic and the foam here, this feels quality. The top of the head bracket is padded as well, and we've got some adjustment play. So if your head is larger or smaller, looks like you can make the adjustments and get them into the shape you want. So let's take a look here at what we've got. We've got ANC, right? So that's going to be our noise cancellation. Here is our charging port, and we've got our 3.5 millimeter cable connection. So if we want to use these as wired headsets, we certainly can do so. And then we've got our controls that are integrated into the body of the right hand ear cup. And so it's going to allow us to pause, to go back, to go forward on these controls. They are, somewhat tight together or close together. So if you have larger fingers, you might have some trouble. They are shaped differently, right? So you can kind of tactile with your thumb or your finger or whatever you're using to make that adjustment. You can tell that this is the center or pause play button. And then obviously if we come to the right hand side of that, you're going to go forward, and if you go to the left of that, you've got the back button. So we'll see from a functional standpoint, once I do some testing on that, if the positioning of these buttons causes me any trouble in that process. So really what we need to do is get these put onto the charger and see if they're going to perform to the premium level that they are marketed to.
Well, okay. I can't wait to hear what you think about both the earbuds and the headphones.
I was really hoping that you'd forget about doing that while I was doing the unboxing, but clearly you did not. However, I will press ahead with my thoughts regardless. So let's talk about the earbuds first. I have to say that when I initially started working with them, I was a little disappointed in the sound reproduction. Then I happened to be adjusting the fit in my ear, and I noticed that that actually is pretty critical to this particular device's sound reproduction. Once I did that and I adjusted where they were sitting in my ear, the sound was dramatically better. I have to say, I'm really impressed with these really inexpensive earbuds and their sound reproduction. This highlights an important aspect of earbuds: proper fit. Earbuds are going to depend on that far more than headphones are going to. So these inexpensive little earbuds are actually pretty impressive. Now there's no noise canceling, but the sound reproduction is still really good. I didn't notice a lot of outside noise coming in because the fit was good and the reproduction of the sound was good at the same time. One thing you're not going to get with these devices is brand recognition, and for some people that's actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's interesting. Considering the low price point, I was half expecting you to say that they sounded awful.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised myself. Now, not that these have bad build quality, but they weren't anything special. To adjust the volume up and down, you had to have a series of taps to get that to work, and quite honestly, for me, it was like Morse code. I was never going to remember those actions. As well, you could actually use these to answer the phone or reject calls, but that was more Morse code that I was really unlikely to remember on an ongoing basis.
Okay, interesting. So it sounds like you might be potentially recommending these.
I would, with a caveat. So there's certainly a good value, that's for sure. One thing I don't know, however, is how long these earbuds are going to last. That remains to be seen. There are definitely units that would inspire more confidence based on their build quality, but with this price point, I could replace these several times over and still be ahead.
Okay, so if these inexpensive earbuds pleasantly surprised you, should we assume that the headphones, which were not premium, value priced for a premium category, but definitely more expensive, should we assume that those disappointed?
Keith, I can't lie. No, they didn't. I have to say, these headphones were actually pretty awesome. I loved everything about them. From the way they were packaged, to the carrying case, to the accessories, the sound reproduction, really everything about them was great.
So, does that mean you were pleasantly surprised by these headphones?
Well, not really. I would say that my expectations were met or maybe, exceeded slightly. But I went in with some pretty high expectations because of, one, the price point, and two, the market that they were going after. This isn't a case of $15 earbuds versus $150 earbuds. It's $150 headphones versus $300 headphones. So although they're $150 less, I still consider that a lot of money in my book. So I figured they better deliver some pretty darn good performance at that price point.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is hard to call $150 cheap. So I can see why you had, high expectations. And, frankly, $150 is above most people's impulse buy threshold. It's hard to aim at a $300 category and say, hey, we're $150 cheaper, but we're just as good. And it is different than saying, hey, we're $150 cheaper, but lower your expectations because we're cheaper. So I'm glad to hear that these lived up to your expectations and that they didn't disappoint.
You know what does disappoint?
Is it that I won't stop making these puns?
You're truly a genius.
Well, thank you. Wait, am I sensing... Dang it, you got me. Well, I probably deserved it at this point. Speaking of this point, it's probably time to close out another episode.
Wow, that time again already? Well, let me start off by saying thank you for joining us today, and if you enjoyed this episode, please consider hitting the like button. And if you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe so you get notified of new content. You have no idea how much that helps us with the YouTube algorithm.
And right now, considering the size of our tiny little channel, it is a bit of a David versus Goliath situation, I believe. So don't forget to hit that bell icon also, right? That helps you get more earth-shattering, groundbreaking content.
Keith!
What, was that a little over the top?
Just a bit.
Okay then, let's click the bell then to get notified of our marginally entertaining new content.
Keith!
Jeez, man, make up your mind. Okay, click the bell to get notified when we release new content.
Now, was that so hard to do? Wait, don't answer that. For Keith and Bruce, thanks for joining us, and you'll see us next time on Dads Talk Tech.
Bye-bye.
Keith, I've already put the end of the episode logo up.